Good day and welcome to class. This is ANC TUTORS, and together we'll be considering the question before us, which is as follows. Solve 10y squared plus 7y is equal to 12. And as usual, we write the question for better clarity. Okay, so considering the question we were given, we can see that it's not following the usual format for quadratic equation or a quadratic expression, which is typically you having three terms together. But here we have two terms together and just one term on the separate side. So for us to have the usual quadratic format, we have to move this 12 from the right hand side to the left hand side. So when we move 12 from the right hand side to the left hand side, it becomes minus 12 because it has crossed over the equal to sign. Okay, and also when we remove 12 from the right hand side to the left hand side, we are left with just 0 on the right hand side. So once we've done that, we now have the following expression: 10y squared plus 7y minus 12 is equal to 0. So as you can see, it's giving us the usual format for a quadratic equation. And then we go on to factorize. To fully understand how to factorize, please make reference to the previous videos, especially the one on factorization. Alright, thank you. So, having learned from the previous videos, we know if we want to factorize, we first multiply the coefficient of the first term by the third term. Alright, so what's the coefficient of the first term, which is 10y squared? The coefficient of 10y squared is what? Is 10 times, what is the third term in this question? Minus 12. So that will give us 10 times minus 12 is equal to what? Minus 120. Alright, what is the coefficient of the second term? The coefficient of the second term is what? Is just plus 7. So it means we have to look for two numbers that when we multiply them together, it will give us minus 120. And when we add them together, it will give us plus 7. So if you've gone through the method I use to get my factors, you will discover that just two numbers will give us this, will satisfy this condition. And those numbers are what? Plus 15 and minus 8. Let's briefly check. Multiplying these two numbers, plus 15 and minus 8 is what? Minus 120, because plus times minus is minus and 15 times 8 is 120. So that was how we got our minus 120. And adding this number together, we have plus 15 plus minus 8, which is the same thing as what? 15 minus 8, which is the same thing as plus 7. So we can see that these two numbers have satisfied our condition, and so they are able to replace what? The second term. And that will give us 10y squared plus 15y minus 8y minus 12 is equal to 0. So it has successfully replaced the second term. So we pick these terms 2 by 2 and we remove the common element. So picking the first two terms, we have 10y squared plus 15y. What is common between 10y squared and 15y? Okay, 5 can go in 10, 5 can go in 15. Okay, y can go in 10y squared and y can go in 15y. So 5y now is common. When we remove 5y from 10y squared, we have 2y, because removing 5 from 10, we are left with 2. That is, dividing 10 by 5, we are left with 2. And removing y from y squared, we are left with y. So that will give us 2y, plus removing 5y from 15y, we are left with 3. And that will give us 2y plus 3 inside the bracket. So we'll move on to the last two terms, which are minus 8y and minus 12. What is common between minus 8y and minus 12? Okay, 4 can go in 8 and 4 can go in 12. So that will be the common term or the common element. So writing -4 outside the bracket, we have, when you remove -4 from 8y, you are left with 2y. And when we remove -4 from -12, you are left with +3. Do you understand? Okay, so you can see that we have the same numbers inside the bracket, and this is a sign that okay, this is correct. And then we equate it to 0. So saying that we have two same quantities in the bracket, we just pick one. So we write 2y plus 3, and then the ones that are not bracketed, the ones that are outside the bracket, which are 5y and -4, we bring them into a bracket. So we write 5y and -4 into a bracket, and then we equate them to 0. So the next thing to do now is to equate each of these bracketed expression to 0. What is the first expression? 2y plus 3. So we equate this to 0. What is the second expression? 5y minus 4. And we equate this to 0. So we are having 2y plus 3 is equal to 0, or 5y minus 4 is equal to 0. So then we start to solve these two simultaneously. Simultaneously means at the same time. We start to solve these two questions at the same time. Okay, so collecting like terms on both sides, we have 2y is equal to 0 minus 3. When plus 3 crosses over, it becomes -3. And on the other side, we have 5y is equal to what? Is 0 plus 4. So still solving simultaneously, we have to simplify. In the first instance, we have 2y is equal to -3, because 0 minus 3 is equal to what? -3. And on the second instance, we have 5y is equal to 4, because 0 plus 4 is equal to 4. Okay, so now we have 2y is equal to -3, or 5y is equal to 4. And then to have our final answer, in both instances, we have to divide both sides by the coefficient of y. On the first instance, the coefficient of y is 2. So we'll divide both sides by 2. 2 cancel 2 will give us just y standing alone. And that will be equal to -3 all over 2. Which is the final answer in the first instance. And then in the second instance now, we have 5y is equal to 4. Dividing both sides by the coefficient of y, which is 5, we have 5y divided by 5 is equal to 4 all over 5. So y 5 will cancel 5 to give us just y, and then we have 4 all over 5. So we can see that we have two answers in this question, and these two answers, y is equal to -3 all over 2, or y is equal to 4 all over 5. We completely solve our question, which is 10y squared plus 7y is equal to 12. I really hope you understand, and thank you.